So this just happened. Spot, Bitcoin, and Ethereum ETFs just posted $40 billion in trading volume this past week. This is the biggest week ever. Meanwhile, Grayscale is making headlines again, this time for filing a Dogecoin ETF. And then we have Michael Saylor making a bold statement saying the road is clear for Bitcoin and banking. Let's break it all down. Hey guys, welcome back to Clockwise Crypto. Hope you guys are moving forward in everything that you do. Today, we're going to dive into some major market updates here. So first up, we have reports that Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs reached $40 billion in trading volume in just 1 week. And the reason why that's significant is because it's showing huge institutional demand. And we'd love to see that, especially as we move forward towards adoption and actually into this bull run. So that matters huge because of that institutional demand that is showing, and it's showing that hedge funds, retirement accounts, and even wealth managers are piling in. And what we're seeing here is iShares Bitcoin Trust, Fidelity's Wise, Origin Bitcoin Fund led the way, while Ethereum's ETF, VanEck, and Franklin Templeton are also seeing increased inflows. Guys, this is huge. Huge numbers. The surge in volume is more than just numbers on a chart, though. It reflects the growing shift that what we're seeing is crypto is becoming more mainstream and becoming a more mainstream financial product. So remember when people thought ETFs wouldn't change much? Now they're becoming a primary on-ramp for institutions. That's what we're seeing. And one analyst even quoted that ETFs have transformed Bitcoin from a speculative asset into an investable product for traditional markets. And I think we can see here that this $40 billion inflow proves that. So there's a lot of people on the fence still. You're going to see people on the fence. Should I get into crypto? Oh, I don't know too much about that. I get that as well. Even today, I tell people, look, you really should take a look at this. You're spending money. You're spending money on Starbucks anyway. Why not put that same money into an asset that's going to potentially grow and increase in value because you're so early? So those are the conversations I'm having on a weekly basis, at least. And people are going to miss the boat, and you can't save them all. You cannot save them all. So next up, we see Grayscale making news again, unleashing G-Dog as Wall Street sniffs around spot Dogecoin ETF. So this is huge because it signals that meme coins are no longer just jokes, right? They're evolving into a regulated financial instrument. And with Dogecoin being Elon Musk's favorite coin, or at least it used to be, haven't heard him talk about it much recently. The hype around this could be massive if approved. And it's really going to set the framework for projects like Floki that have real utility to get a shot. You know, I take a look at Floki. I know we're talking about Dogecoin with this ETF, but let me highlight Floki as well. Floki actually has utility. And it got approved on Robinhood as well recently to trade on Robinhood. So that is a meme coin project you may want to take a look at that may not have the same pool right now as a Dogecoin, but you're able to get in early, and especially before an ETF launches. They already had the Robinhood announcement. That may be something to take advantage of when you're looking at maybe investing in your next meme coin. So according to the ETF filing, when it comes to Doge, the ETF would allow investors to gain exposure to Doge without needing to hold the token directly. This is similar to how the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs work before, and this is an option as well that Dogecoin is going to have. And I think if Dogecoin gets approved, it's going to open the floodgates for quality meme coin projects, the people that want exposure to it. There's a growing interest there. It's not like we're just speculating at this point. The reason why these ETFs even got approved, the reason why Bitcoin got approved, the reason why Ethereum got approved, and the reason why there's high probabilities for others to get approved is because people want exposure to these financial assets. 100%. So now, will the SEC approve it? I know that's unclear. Some critics argue that Doge lacks the fundamentals for an ETF, but with the approval of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs already in play, it's definitely possible. I don't want to sit here and say it's not possible. It's not going to happen. It's definitely possible, especially with Dogecoin being a top 20, top 10 project consistently for years now. So I definitely think there is something to say about it getting approved. If it gets approved, it's a huge retail gateway. Imagine mainstream traders having access to Doge through not only Robinhood, but Fidelity, Charles Schwab brokers accounts, right? It's going to be huge. So take a look at that. We're going to be keeping an update on that because that's going to be the framework. If Doge gets approved, that's going to be a framework for other projects like Doge. And I want to say like Doge, I don't mean all meme coins. I'm going to mean meme coins that are probably within the top 100, top 50, are going to be taking a serious look at for sure if Dogecoin ETF gets approved. And that, like I said before in the previous video, that could be a strategy on getting into projects early. What is the likelihood they can get an ETF approval? Something to pay attention to. Next up, Michael Saylor making headlines again. MicroStrategy co-founder and one of the biggest Bitcoin advocates says the road is now clear for Bitcoin and banking. So what does that mean? Well, what I'm looking at it is for me, it's meaning the ETFs being widely adopted. The regulatory environment for Bitcoin is finally becoming clear. And then we also have Bitcoins and institutions that now have a safe, regulated framework way to offer Bitcoin exposure to their clients. So this ties directly to the growing narrative that Bitcoin is becoming a core part of the financial system. So for years, traditional banks resisted crypto. If you guys were like us, we got debanked for getting sizable deposits from Coinbase. Right. And now everyone's embracing it because the infrastructure is here. ETFs, custody solutions, institutional grade compliance have opened the door for everyone to take advantage of this huge shift in the financial markets. So Saylor has always argued that Bitcoin will become the ultimate store of value. And now with Wall Street and banks on board, that vision is looking very clear. Now, I do disagree with Michael Saylor from one standpoint. I think there's going to be multiple winners, right? I think Bitcoin's going to be there. I think there's multiple winners when it comes to looking at your ROI amongst other crypto assets, right? Bitcoin is king. Bitcoin is continuing to do well. And from my understanding, Bitcoin is king. We know that. We know Bitcoin is tried and true. Bitcoin is I would say digital gold, right? But when we look at altcoins provide you that upside that Bitcoin can, right? Bitcoin 10x from here will be about $1.7 million per Bitcoin, right? You can get a 10x on your money, right? And that's it. You can get a 10x on your money with less buying Ethereum. You can get probably even a greater return, to be honest with you, because I personally have Ethereum one day. Like if Bitcoin goes to let's say 1.7 or 1.17, which whatever be a 10x from there, it'll be 1.17 actually. Move the decimal over. So 1.1. That's where Bitcoin would have to be 1.1 million for that to be a 10x. The 10x for Ethereum is 40K. You guys know if Bitcoin reaches 1.1, I have Ethereum at least, and I don't think I'm crazy, I have Ethereum at least reaching $100,000, right? If Bitcoin reaches 1.1, for sure. So the ROI for me is far greater. And for most people, unless you're a big fund, it's far greater to buy Ethereum or buy a solid altcoin that has huge upside than to buy Bitcoin. When you can ride Ethereum from 4,400 to potentially 100K, right? Then take that 100K and buy Bitcoin, or at least buy some Bitcoin with some of the gain, right? So that is where we differentiate, right? When it comes to what Michael Saylor's belief is, right? He's doing all this for a 10x, maybe even greater, right? Long term, right? He has Bitcoin going to 17 million, right? With everything going on in the markets, you cannot take these price points off the table, right? Back in the day, you say, oh, never, 100K Bitcoin, never. That's exactly what was said. Now it doesn't sound too crazy, right? But the risk to reward, you take that same money and put it into an XRP, put it into a Cardano, right? Cardano's at 91 cents, right? You put that into one of these altcoins and make further gains, right? Way further gains than anything that you could do with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is tried and true. I love Bitcoin. Yes, I do hold Bitcoin, but the gains are made with altcoins for sure. So definitely wanted to recap that and give you guys some updates on what's going on in the markets. Hope you guys got some value out of this video. Keep moving forward in everything that you do. See you soon.